All right, folks. Now it's time for some thrilling fly by the seat of your pants conversions notes. So we're going to do a little bit of practice here today after we take a few notes. Make sure you have a calculator on hand. Your phone works fine if you don't have like a calculator. And I really can't emphasize this enough, but American units are really, really dumb. And we'll get to that at the end. All right, let's do this. So if I were to ask you to measure out 24 inches, how many feet is that? That it is 2 feet. Now, with really simple conversions, we don't really write anything down. We just sort of like, it's 2 feet. You just kind of like, the answer just pops in your head. But what math are you actually doing? So we're going to go ahead and go through some rules and some steps for how to do conversions, because although we don't really need them for converting 24 inches to feet, when we get to a lot more complicated problems, then we want to start being a lot more organized. So some general rules, okay? Rule number 1, always cancel your units. That's really big. Units are going to be key during these problems. Very important. You want to cancel the ones as you go along. And show your work, just get really neat. The name of this game is not being talented at math. The name of this game is being organized. There's a couple of units in chemistry where it doesn't really matter how talented you are at math compared to how organized you are. So it's all about structure. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you 5 steps. Some of them may or may not make sense at first, but write them down as we go along. And then once we do a practice problem or two, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get what he meant by step 3 now, or whatever it is. So step 1, write conversions in the form of a fraction with units. So whatever measurement you're starting with, you always want to write in the form of a fraction. Lots of times you'll just be putting it over 1. So for example, in this first question, 60 quarters, converting that to $1. Well, step 1 would tell us, hey, write the conversion in the form of a fraction. So I'm going to say 60 quarters over 1. Okay, so I've written it as a fraction. Step 2, set up the conversion so the units cancel out, top to bottom. Okay, so I don't want quarters in my final answer, so I want quarters to cancel out. The only way I can get quarters to cancel out is if I have quarters on the bottom of my next fraction. Okay, so I'll have quarters on the bottom of my next fraction, getting ready to cancel it out. Step 3, do this until the units you want are on top of the fraction. Well, so I know quarters has to be on the bottom of the next one. I want to get to dollars, so I think to myself, like, okay, well, there's actually a direct conversion from quarters to dollars, so I can look at that ratio. So I got dollars on top there, and multiply the numbers horizontally, okay? So here I'm looking at this. I have 60 quarters times $1 over 1 times 4 quarters. So I'm going to multiply horizontally. So I'm going to multiply the whole top. So 60 times 1 is equal to 60. And then 1 times 4 is equal to 4. Okay? And I want to make sure that I cancel out my units as I go. So any units that I have here, so quarters is on top here. It's on the bottom here, so I can cancel it out. Dollars I can't cancel out because there aren't dollars on the bottom of any fraction, so it's just going to be left as is. So the final units on our answer will be dollars. And the last step, divide numbers vertically. So 60 divided by 4, put that into your calculator. That'll tell you $15. Okay, so let's try this other one. So 45 eggs, step 1, write that as a fraction. So 45 eggs over 1. Step 2, set the conversion so the units cancel out. So I'm setting it up so I got eggs on the bottom of my next one. Do this until the units you want are on top. Okay, so I got dozen on top now. So 1 dozen is equal to 12 eggs. Those units cancel right here. The eggs are gone. Eggs are gone. Dozen doesn't cancel anywhere. Multiply your numbers horizontally. So 45 times 1 is 45. 1 times 12 is 12. So 45 divided by 12, divide vertically. 45 eggs is about 3.75 dozen. All right, so hopefully those 2 problems weren't too bad for you. Let's try some more difficult ones. Convert seconds to hours. Now, this is one of the first ones where you probably can't do it in your head. You probably, or a lot of you probably know, do the last few in your head. But these ones you can't anymore, so it's all about structure, baby. Organization. All right, so 234 seconds, convert that to hours. Well, I'll start by writing my fraction. 234 seconds over 1. So I know that the bottom of my next one needs to have seconds, so I can cancel those out. But I don't have a direct conversion from seconds to hours, so I'm going to have to kind of work my way there. So 60 seconds over 1 minute, or I'm sorry, 1 minute over 60 seconds. So these units are going to cancel. So seconds are gone. But I'm not in the units that I want yet. I'm in minutes. So I need to get rid of minutes. So minutes is going to be on the bottom of my next one. I want hours on top. So 60 minutes, 1 hour. So here we go. So minutes are gone now. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply horizontally. 234 times 1 times 1 is 234. 1 times 60 times 60 is 3,600. And if I do 234 divided by 3,600, that comes out to be 0.065. Trying another one here. Convert a week into seconds. Okay, well, 1 week over 1. So I'll have weeks on the bottom of my next one. I convert that to days. I don't want days, so I got to get rid of days. I convert that to hours. I don't want hours, so I convert that to minutes. It's still not what I want my final answer, so I convert minutes into seconds. Okay, so now I'm looking at this. Weeks are gone. Days are gone. Hour is gone. Minutes are gone. Seconds are left over, and that is what I want, my final answer. So now it's time to multiply horizontally. 1 times 7 times 24 times 60 times 60 is 6,000 or 604,800. And then 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, that's 1. So this answer will come out to be 604,800 seconds. All righty. So then that brings us to our worksheet here that you guys will be working on your own. One thing I want to point out to you is that this is the distance gateway. So lots of times this is going to be the conversion that you're going to have to go through at some point, especially if you're going from American units to metric units. So for example, kilometers is a metric unit, but feet is an American unit. So you know that at some point you're going to have to use this distance gateway to get yourself from kilometers to feet. Or over here, miles is an American unit, meters is a metric unit. So again, you know that you're going to have to use this distance gateway. This is just an important one I like to point out because you're going to use it very, very often. Now, Mr. Pilcher, do you hate America? How come you don't like American units? Well, because they're completely whack. Let's see why. 1 yard equals 3 feet. 1 foot equals 12 inches. 1 mile equals 5,200. These are such random numbers. 3, 12, 5,280. Whereas with the metric folks, you got clean numbers. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. Like those are just nice, clean conversions. And that's why the rest of the world is smart in this area, and American units were like, no, we're our own country now. We're going to have our own units. Well, how many inches are in a foot? I don't know. 12 is my favorite number. Let's go with that. So I don't like American units. I love America, but our units are ridiculous. I wish we had metric units. But anyway, so go ahead and get some good practice in here. Please let me know if you have questions. The answer key to this will be sitting close to the blank copy of this, so you can kind of do a couple, check a couple. All right. Those are conversion notes. Yeah.